Hey, what up, YouTube? It is your boy, Big Man MTG, back at you with another deck tech. And now this is my personal favorite deck right now, my favorite tribe of all time, good old dragons. And this deck is called BDE. You know what it is? That big dragon energy. Now, this deck on the power scale, I would give it a solid 7. It's pretty damn good, but not CEDH. Like it will hold it'll hold for its own. It's pretty damn good, and that is for damn sure. But it ain't CDH. It ain't that good. Not yet. Probably never will be. It's dragons. Let's keep it real here. But anyways, the commander of this deck is the one, the only, the Dragon. Now, as you look at his price tag, he can be replaced with basically a couple other dragons. We got, and I can show you them. They're in this deck, so I'll show you them later on when I get into the creatures. But he can be replaced. They're substitutes because he's way too expensive right now. But this guy, there's a reason why he's expensive. One, he hasn't been reprinted very much, except like in the secret layer, I think. And two, he is probably one of the best, if not the best, dragon commander you can get because of this one ability here, his Eminence ability, an ability that is unbelievably broken. So it reads, as long as the Dragon is in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost one less to cast, making them cheaper, one less to cast. That's amazing to have. He doesn't even need to be on the battlefield for this effect. So it's very good. It's a very good commander. And also, that's not it. There's more. He is flying. And whenever one or more dragons you control attacks, draw that many cards, then you put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. So he is really good. And now he's really good for a really high mana cost. He costs 9 mana, 4 colorless in Wooburg. So he's expensive, and there's a reason why he's expensive. But you don't really need to cast him if you don't have to. You don't need to. Now, it's cool to cast him. Don't get me wrong. You want to cast him. He's pretty damn cool. But he still, his Eminence ability is there if he's on the battlefield or not. So, it's up to you. It's depending on the scenario in the game. But making your thing cost one less to cast makes your dragons a lot easier to cast because these guys aren't cheap. Now let's get into the dragons. So now we're going to start with the ancient dragons. These are my 2 ancient dragons I have in the deck. I thought about including the white ancient dragon and then the black one. They're both really good, but I'm going to stick with the ancient copper and ancient silver for now. Now, what they do is whenever they deal combat damage to a player, you roll a d20, and in the red one, you create that much treasures, which is really damn good. Or in the silver one's case, you draw that many cards and you have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game, which is also really damn good. But keep in mind, you have to deal combat damage to get those effects. So that's when the flying comes in, because flying is a really good type to have to make sure your creatures won't get blocked. But yeah, you need these to deal combat damage. They're really good, really solid. And Ancient Copper Dragon only being 6 mana, making that cost 5, you can get them out as early as turn 5. Heck, even earlier with some of the cards in this deck. So you can definitely get combat damage with these two. Then the Balefire Dragon, he's an oldie, but damn is he a goodie. Because whenever he deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. So let's say I deal 6 damage. Yeah, let's say I attack with him. He does 6 damage, goes through. Now, each creature that player controls takes 6 damage. That's a board wipe right there for 7 mana on a body, and that's continuously. As long as he's out there and as long as he's dealing combat damage, you can continue dealing damage to him and hurt him a little bit. So, very, very good. Bladewing the Risen, he is recursion. There's some recursion in the creature slots. He's recursion. Bloom Tender, ramp. 5-color deck, you gotta have Bloom Tender because you can get a lot of mana generated off this guy. Very good. Dragonlord Dromoka, prevent them damn spells being cast on your turn. And he can't even be countered. And he has lifelink. And flying. A very, very good card to have. Was reprinted recently. Now he's cheaper. Definitely get him while you can. Dragonlord Servant. He has the same effect your commander has, making your dragon spells you cast cost one less to cast. So with him and the Ur Dragon in your command zone, that's 2 less to cast. You can get Ancient Copper Dragon now costs 4 mana to cast. That's great. That's amazing. Great effect to have in the deck. And also, Dragon Speaker Shaman. Dragon spells you cast cost 2 less to cast now. Him out there with the Ur Dragon yet again, 3 less to cast. Now, this Ancient Copper Dragon costs 3 mana to cast for a 6/5 with a crazy ability. That's what you want to see. Now, he's an interesting slot. I have him because in my play group, I like hitting certain targets. Now, you can replace him if you don't like him for one of the ancient dragons from the Commander Legends Baldur's Gate sets. But I like him in this deck for the reason of when he attacks, he deals 4 damage to any target and 3 damage to each up to 2 other targets. So I like pinging certain creatures on my opponent's boards to make sure we're good and that they're dead. So that's why I have it in the deck. Dryad of the Illusion Grove, play additional lands, and then this is the insane ability. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to the other types. So all these lands are basic lands in addition to the other types. So, with that being said, I can tap them anything. Especially in a Wooburg deck, you need that. Because the mana base is tough. It's tough getting those colors. But so it makes it very good. This guy's basically the Gulta of dragons. Big green monster. That's all you really need to hear. Cost X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of dragons you control. So he'll be cheap, very cheap for a 10/10 flying trample, and he's recurable, so it's nice. Now this guy makes treasures. Whenever he enters the battlefield, or another dragon enters the battlefield, create a treasure token, and you choose a background, which I don't believe I have a background in this deck, because I don't know. I just really wanted the dragon effect off him, so, yeah. Goldspan Dragon. Whenever he attacks or becomes a target of a spell, create a treasure token. Treasures you control have sacrifice artifact, add 2 mana of any color. Works really good with Ganax and the Ancient Copper Dragon, making all those treasures tap for double, making me cast more things and just blowing up the board with a slight ton of dragons. Hellkite Charger, extra combats, oldie but a goodie. Hellkite Courser, Commander Legends, a newer card. So you know how your commander costs 9 mana? Why not get him out there for free for a turn, attack with him, get the effects off of him, and have him go back to the command zone? Well, Hellkite Courser can do that for you for 6 mana. When it enters the battlefield, you put a commanded card or commander you own from the command zone onto the battlefield. It gains haste. Return it to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step. That's very good. A very good effect to have. Hellkite Tyrant. He is one of my favorites because you're reversing against a cheap artifact player. Let's steal that shit and have an extra win con in the deck. That's what I like to hear. So whenever he deals combat damage to a player, I gain control of all artifacts that player controls. Now notice this card has trample. So they can block hit with a 5/5, and as long as that 1 damage goes through, I get those artifacts. So it's a very good card to have in the deck. Very good, very scummy, but very good. Simple enough. A 2 mana. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast dragon spells from the top of your library. Simple, keeps the deck moving. You need that. Lathis. Whoa. Hold on. That's not the art I have. Look. I think this might be a secret layer one, so it's kind of cute. No, so caught me off guard a little bit there. But it's a legendary creature dragon. Whenever another non-token, remember that, dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a 5/5 dragon creature token with flying. Very good. It's kind of like another card in this deck, just a little bit worse, a lot worse, but it's also pretty damn good. Because whenever you play a dragon, you make a dragon. Play a dragon, you make a dragon, which is nice to have. Now, Miram, one of the best cards, probably of 2022, at least the best commander card, I should rephrase it. Miram, Sentinel Worm. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, Create a token that's a copy of it, except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. So I can be creating copies of the Dragon, for God's sakes. I could be making copies of the ancient Copper Dragon if I want to. I can make copies of Hellkite Tyrant if I want to. Goldspan Dragons. This thing is just a beast of a card. You definitely want him in the deck. That's for damn sure. He is a beast in this deck. That's definitely one you want to have. He's really good. And he also has Ward 2. So it kind of, deflects all those kill spells and stuff. It costs a little bit extra. Makes them work for it a little bit more. Very good card. Ramos, Dragon Engine. He is one of the cards you can have as your commander if you don't want the Dragon because he's too expensive. He reads, whenever you cast a spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Ramos Dragon Engine for each of that spell's colors. So, for example, I cast Dragon Lord Dramoka. I'd get 2 counters onto Ramos Dragon Engine because he has a green mana and a white mana. So I'll get 2 counters on him. And now if I get to 5 counters, I can remove them to add 10 mana, 2 of each color, to my mana pool. I can only activate this once each turn, so it prevents it from being abused. But you get 10 mana, which is really damn good. Really damn good. Really nice to have. You do a lot with 10 mana. Savage Ventmaw, whenever it attacks, it adds 6 mana, 3 red, 3 green, to your mana pool. And until end of the turn, this mana doesn't empty from your mana pool as steps and phases end, which is very nice to have. Very good card. Scarelord Reckoner. One of my favorites. Dragons. So when it's in, whenever a dragon control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, destroy target non-land permanent that player controls. That is very nice. It offers protection on your creatures. And it's like, you destroy my creature, you target on my creatures with a spell and ability. I'm going to destroy something of yours. Just a little revenge, a little bite back at you for doing that to me. Now, this card right here, a very, very nice card in this deck. He can also be your commander if you choose to. Actually, probably better, but he's not as fun. Scion of the Dragon is a flying 4/4 with a really good ability. Search your library for a dragon card and put it into your graveyard. If you do, Scion of the Dragon becomes a copy of that card until end of turn. Then shuffle your library. So, right here, Scion, let's say I use his ability and search for, I don't know, this guy right here. He has these abilities now. Whenever it attacks, he'll deal 4 damage to a target, and then he'll also get to do 3 damage to each up to 2 other targets. He'll get those abilities. That's what you want. Now, what you can do with this, you pay the 2, turn it into this. If someone's trying to kill something of yours, then you're like, I'm going to turn it into this, and I'll kill something of yours. So, it's pretty cool, really good card. You can catch people out with that. Scourge of Valkis, one of the ways you deal high amounts of damage. Whenever him or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, deals X damage to target creature, where X is the number of dragons you control. Very good card in this deck. Very, very good card. Slimgar of the Drifting Death. He can also be taken out for one of the ancient ancient dragons. If I choose to have him in here to deal with token strategies, because whenever a dragon you control attacks creatures, the defending player controls gets -1/-1 on turn. Very good card, especially when those go wide token strategies. Somberwold Sage, Mana Dork. Steel Hellkite. Very good card, very good, especially for that second ability. X mana, so you can put any amount of mana in it. Destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost X, whose controller was dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite this turn. Activate this ability only once each turn. Very good card, Tanab the Harvester. You pay 3 mana to when it deals combat damage. You pay 3 mana, and if you do, you put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under control. A graveyard. Very good card. You'll probably recur dragons or something crazy with it, like a dragon like this. Terror of the Peaks. Very strong card, very good card. And the main thing that makes this really good is its second ability here. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Tear of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. Wow. So let's say in a hypothetical scenario, Tear of the Peaks is out. And I'm going to go cast my Commander, a 10/10 big body bands, and he's out. Tear of the Peaks deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. I'm going to deal 10 damage to somebody. Somebody getting snapped really damn hard. And on top of that, he's also a 5/4 flyer for 5 mana, and spells your opponent's cast that target Tear of the Peak cost an additional 3 life to cast. Which honestly in Commander doesn't really do much, but it's nice to be like, well, I'll get back for destroying one of my good creatures. Tiamat. He's also a guy you can sub in for the Dragon. He is good. He is stupid good. Just from his ability. Now he's expensive, just like the Dragon. He cost what? 7 mana, 2 colorless, 5 Wooburg. He's a flying 7/7, but it's all worth it for this ability. Whenever Tiamat enters the battlefield, if you cast it, search your library up to 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat that each have different names, reveal them, and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. This is Commander, so it's 5 dragons from your deck. There's 5 dragons, which is amazing to have. You can tutor up for all your best dragons, Tear of the Peaks, the Ancient Dragons, whatever other dragons you need, and just basically win the game. A Truva Hellkite. Now, this has like somewhat of the same effect as one of the other cards earlier, but just better than Lapis. Truva Hellkite it's 8 mana, expensive. It's a 6/6 flyer. Whenever a dragon control attacks, put a 6/6 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. So let's say attack with like 6 creatures. No, that's way too much. 3 creatures. Attack with 3 creatures. And he's out. Whenever dragon control attacks, I put 3 red dragon creature tokens with flying onto the battlefield. Imagine having that out with Tear of the Peaks. I'm dealing 18 damage right off the get-go if Tear of the Peaks is out. That's a lot of freaking damage, that's for damn sure. So it's a very good card to have in the deck. And also you just put 18 power onto the battlefield if you attack with the 3 dragons on a hypothetical scenario. Very good card to have. Wraithful Red Dragon. This guy reads, he's pretty damn good. Whenever a dragon control is dealt damage, it deals damage to any target that isn't a dragon. You deal 3 damage to my dragon, I deal 3 damage to something of yours. It's any target, so with anything, I can deal 3 damage to anything, as long as it's not a dragon. So it's pretty damn good. A little get back at you. We get to the sorceries here. Now this is Triumph of the Horde, because we have big bodies. Giving them all +1/+1 trample and infect can likely kill someone out of nowhere. Cool art though. I like that secret layer, even though I did not get it because no. Cool art though. Blasphemous Act, board wipe, very good. Crucifix of Fate, a board wipe that can only that you choose to destroy all non-dragon creatures, so your dragons live. Very good card to have in your deck. Cultivate Ramp, Eerie Ultimatum, very good in this deck. Very good. It's very good in Commander in general. Return any number of permanent cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. Basically, your entire deck. Basically. Because as long as you have all different names, any number of permanent cards, boom, they're all in. Farewell, really good board wipe. Farseek, Ramp, grants a Zenith. You know what that is? That's a tutor. Green. Use tutor for a green creature card. Really good to have in the deck. Kodama's Reach, Ramp. Ramp of Growth, Ramp. You need the ramp in this deck, that's for damn sure. You got some good removal. Anguish Unmaking, you exile target non-land permanent, you lose 3 life, pretty good. This helps you look through the deck. And the 1 counter spell in this deck, let's go. Original counter spell, gotta love it. Woo, 1 counter. A ramp spell right there, gotta have that ramp. Swords to Plowshares, kill spell. Utter End, kill spell. More ramp with Arcane Signet, Commander Sphere, Fellbar Stone. Herald's Horn, very good card in this deck because you choose a creature type, though they now cost 1 less to cast. At the beginning of your upkeep, you look at the top card of your library. If it's a creature card of the chosen type, you may reveal it and put it in your hand, and that means you can also draw a card. So like this is if they draw a stat, you draw a card on you know, you get to do this and then draw a card. It's nice to have. It's nice to have. That's for damn sure. Jeweled Lotus. This card's only in this deck because I pulled this card. That's pretty much it. He doesn't need to be in the deck. You can replace it with legitimately another ramp piece of any way, shape, or form, or just take him out and throw in another dragon. That's up to you. But the only reason why he's in this deck is because I pulled it. I'm going to point that out. Mirror the Forebears, very good in tribal decks because you choose a creature type when it enters the battlefield. Until in turn, Mirror the Forebears becomes a copy of target creature control of the chosen type, except it's an artifact in addition to its other types. You need to be careful if you copy a legendary with this, because the legendary rule still applies with Mirror the Forebears, so you'd have to sack one or the other. So just be careful with that. Just copy something that's not legendary, and you'll be fine. Soul Ring, of course, Vanquisher's Banner from Ixalan, my favorite set. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You choose dragons, of course. And when creatures you control get +1/+1. That's good. And when you cast a dragon cast a creature spell of the chosen type, you draw a card. So you choose dragon, of course, because it's a dragon deck. And I go down to the enchantments here. Crucible of Fire, great for dragon decks, giving your dragons +3/+3. Dragon Tempest. This is also very good because this has the kind of like the same effect Scourge of Balkus has. This guy here. This enchantment has the same effect as that. So, whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to any target where X is the number of dragons you control. Also, though, whenever a fleet creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, it gains haste until end of turn. Which is what you want badly, is haste. So make sure your creatures can attack that turn. Very good card to have in this deck. Kindred Discovery. Recently reprinted, because it used to be like a 30-something dollar card. Now it's $5 because it got reprinted, thank the lore. Whenever it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. And whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, you draw a card. Very nice. Lurking Predators. This is a pet card of mine. And you'll see why. Whenever a opponent casts a spell, just a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you put it onto the battlefield. Otherwise, you may put it to the bottom of your library. And in Commander, you cast a crap ton of spells. So he's good to have in the deck. That's for damn sure. Because now, opponent casts a spell. Oh, I got a Ancient Copper Dragon. I'll smack him onto the battlefield. That's great to have. Rhythm of the Wild. Now my creatures can't be countered. And they have Riot, which means they either get haste or a +1/+1 counter. You're choosing haste every time. Let's keep it real. Temur Ascendancy. Creatures you control have haste. Whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield, you draw a card. And it's under your control. But still, draw a card. Very nice to have. The main thing is, creature control have haste. That's what you care about. Zendikar Resurgent. He's in the deck because whenever you tap a land for a mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. So you just make an extra mana, which is good. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. What you want. It's what you want. And he's in the deck because, like, if you attack with dragons and you draw this card, you can put onto the battlefield because every dragon puts permanent cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Now it's time to get to the land base. Ooh, it's a 5-color deck. The lands are something else. The good old duels, you can choose either or. Blood Crypt, Shockland, of course. These Commander lands are extremely good to have. The ones that have 2 or more opponent lands. I don't know what they're exactly called. I just call them Commander lands. The pathways are good. These guys can be filled. The land slot can be filled with the lands like you have, dual lands you have, whether you want to go rich man hours, getting fetches and shocks or whatever, or like me having to deal with what they got. Cascade Bluffs, a filter land's good. This card, I think, is underrated because you put 5 mana in, tap it to get 5 mana of the colors you're choosing. I like that card. Caves of Koilos, Pain Land. Command Beacon, if your commander just gets way too damn expensive and it's a longer game, you tap it, sacrifice it to get them in your hand. Command Tower, very good. Pathway, good. Crumbling Necropolis, good. Dragonspell Summit, that's a good one. Drowned Catacombs, Evolving Wilds, a good old land there. Exotic Orchard, Frontier Biotic. Very good card. Did not butcher that at all. Good card though. Haven of the Spirit Dragons now. This is the card you want because of its two abilities. Whenever it taps for 1 mana of any color to cast dragon's creature spells, good to have. And you sacrifice it to return target dragon creature card or Ugin Planeswalker card from your graveyard to your hand. You just care about the dragon side. I didn't put Ugin in this deck. Two opponents land, filter land, two opponents land, two opponents land, two opponents land, two opponents land. The basic fetch land, two opponents land. Another card from Ixalan, another one of my favorites. Choose a creature type, and it taps for any color to your mana pool. Then you can only spend it to cast that creature spell of the chosen type. Good card. Two opponents land, two opponents land. You need those lands. Those lands are good. So this is the breakdown of the deck. So we have a couple. We have 1-0. Let's go. And you can see the main deck, like the main mana value of the cards in this deck, is a bit interesting, mainly because it's a dragon tribal deck, and all the dragons that you want to cast are heavy hitters. They are expensive. This is like your ramp column, ramp and cheap creatures. These are your big hitters, the big dragons, and then this guy is just an outlier. That's the Earthquake Dragon, which you'll never pay 15 for unless you're just in a shitter spot. You'll probably pay around maybe 4 or 5 for him. So he's still in this range with the other dragons. All in all, this deck is very good. Here's the breakdown of it. It is because dragons are mostly red. They're mainly red, so the main deck is going to be mainly red with green being your ramp, so you need to have that ramp. So the green will be the second, and then goes to blue, white, black being your lowest. And the colorless is just me. I need to keep track of that one. But it's mainly a red deck, red and green deck. And yeah, I would give this deck a solid, like I said, on the power scale, 7 out of 10. It's not crazy. It's not like, hey, I'm gonna win the game turn 2. It's like, hey, we're fighting till the end here. This is turn 7, and I got a big board. I'm gonna fucking swack you with it. It's good in a casual playing experience. If you're gonna go see EDH, don't go with this deck. It ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work for shit. But it's a cool deck. On a playing experience of it just being fun. I'll give it a 10 out of 10. It's a fun deck. It's also very simple. You turn creatures sideways. So if you're a new player, it's a very good deck to pick up. Not for this price tag, though, but it's a very good deck either way. Now, I hope y'all enjoyed this deck tech of the Dragon Tribal. I hope you guys all have a great day. Y'all take care. And until next time, peace.